Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Life We're Given podcast. I am so excited you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I just want to give thanks in the beginning of this. I was in my car the other day giving myself praise for just the little things that I've done just in life and the growth and the things that I wanted to do in my life and getting me where I am today. And so a part of that was just giving people thanks that are listening to my podcast and really truly taking something from these episodes. So I thank you so much for joining again. Today's episode, I'm excited to talk about, as always. I'm always excited to talk about every episode that I have. But this one's really cool because I have just been harping on this word miracles lately and what miracles really mean and how we have all had miracles in our lives, but how we really don't take the time to notice them or even take the time just to give thanks and have so much gratitude for those miracles that happen in our lives. So today's episode is talking about miracles in our life and how every story of our lives, there is a miracle and something that um, has happened that is just like a wow, a shocking moment, but something that you had probably been wishing for and dreaming for to happen, and it actually happened. It actually came true. And I do think miracles are faith based, but even just outside of it being spiritually a miracle, there are things of these unexpected moments of hope, um, and where in your story like it changes and you see what you needed to see within your story. And so today that's what we're going to talk about is what if it all worked out? What if those miracles came true and it became something that you truly needed? So I'm so excited to get into that. First off, when talking about that, I just kind of want to talk about my own life journey. As we've talked about many times on this podcast, but just my own journey health wise and how now I am 15 plus years out. I put plus because I think it's 16, almost 17 maybe years that I've been battling health issues on and off. But I think within my story, there are so many miracles. There are so many unexpected moments that have happened. And just recently, I had a 6 month checkup with my doctor. So now that I'm well, I'm not on any medication, I'm doing very well. I have to go in for a 6 month checkup. So every 6 months, we do the extensive test in order to see if the percentage of my blood disorder, the clone size is what it's called, that if it's increased in any way. And if it has increased, that is a bad sign. We also look at my blood counts and to see if they're in the normal range or if they're not. And so, with all those tests, it really shows where I am in my health journey, how far I've come, or if I've backtracked any. So recently I had a 6 month checkup to get all those tests done. And usually at these 6 month checkups, to be honest, before I go in, I have a little bit of PTSD from it. It's just because when I went in for a 6 month checkup one time, that was when I found out that I was out of remission and diagnosed again with blood disorders. And that was a very hard day for me. It was on a Friday, so it was a hard weekend for me as well to have to take that in. So whenever I have these 6 month checkups, it really just kind of brings back all those emotions and the what ifs, like what if it doesn't work out? So I went in and my mom went with me, and the news that I got was unexpected and it was a miracle, and it was everything looks normal. And my doctor was like, you're in, I think this is the best spot we've seen you in. And to hear that news from my doctor, who's been along on this journey with me for years, it was just so much. It was the unexpectedness of hearing that I'm now in a better spot. And that was beautiful. And it just warmed my heart and it made me feel so good. And then after saying that, he said, I'm going to see you in a year, you know? So now we're going from 6 month checkups to now doing my first checkup where I'll see him now a year out, which means I am doing very well. And that is an unexpected miracle that has happened in my life. So you can imagine over 15 plus years of my life, the ups and downs that I've gone through, and the times where I've gone in and thought that my blood counts were going to be great and they weren't. And me coming out of those doctor's appointments, questioning myself, like, how are they not good? I'm feeling better. How are they not in the spot they need to be? And the frustration that comes with that, and the prayers and the hope, and, having so many people support me and pray for me and put me on prayer lists, like the ups and downs, everything that I've been through health wise, to now here, I want to see you in a year. Like that is an unexpected miracle in my life. And it's a story that I share because I share it for you to even think about your own life and the unexpected miracles that have happened for you. Maybe it's a prayer that you've been praying for years, maybe about your son or your daughter. Maybe it's you wanting to change jobs and you getting that phone call that they accepted your offer. Those are unexpected miracles. Maybe you wanted to move in life and move to another state and you decided to do it. And from that move, you see all the blessings that have come from it. And just having that miracle of doing something for you, how other miracles came from that. So when I define a miracle or unexpected miracle, I think it's, like I said, it's not something spiritual. It could be something of where you are finding hope in something you've been wanting and it actually is coming true. You got that phone call that you needed. Somebody is reaching out to you that you've really been wanting to reach out to you and you wanted to support them in a better way. Maybe it's you getting closer with friends or family, people that you've been wanting and yearning to get close with. I think in all of our lives, we've all had some type of miracle and some type of aha moment, or even some type of moment where it's, wow, I'm shocked that it all worked out. And that is what I define as a miracle. Like I said, um, I really did not expect to go into my 6 month checkup thinking that I was going to be better. And to get that news and just that hope, it was just the best feeling ever. And being able to text to my family in our group text that I got probably the best report I think I've ever gotten in over 15 years is, wow, that is awesome. And it was very much so unexpected. I did not expect that at all. So I really just pose the question to you of where in your life did you receive some type of message, some type of miracle that you didn't see as a miracle, maybe, or maybe you did in the moment? And how did that make you feel? How did it feel when to get some type of phone call or some type of small blessing that just turned everything around for you in the most positive and best way? I kind of make you dissect it a little bit, but pulling back the pieces and layers and really looking at your full life, no matter how long you've been here on this earth, really pulling back and looking at that and seeing where are the miracles? Where are the defining moments that you can look back on and really just have thanks for? Like I mentioned earlier, like I was in the car just really having thanks for the things that the goals that I wrote down that are actually coming true and the things that I've wanted to do and I'm really getting there, and those are miracles for me. It's awesome to see those things happen and go on in my life. One thing I will say for me, another unexpected miracle that I had was I decided to pivot within my career, and so that I could have time to do other things that I wanted to in my life. And so having pivoted, I think also opened up a lot of blessings for me. I took a role that is less stress for me. I'm able to still make a difference in my role and in my job and at the company that I work at. But I think that less stress really also helped me health wise. And I am thankful that I took such a giant leap to do other things and accomplish other things that I've been able to do. One of those is being able to start this podcast, but also just opening up myself health wise and putting my health first and knowing that I need less stress as possible in order to really keep moving in life and really just seeing the importance of my health and putting that first. And that was a risk for me. It was a risk to do that. And I will say it has paid off tremendously. And I'm very thankful for me not getting into this role and just staying there and being sad or stuck, but getting into this role, writing down goals that I wanted to accomplish that I think I wasn't able to before because my mind was not ready for it, but I was so focused on work and work and work. Um, Now I'm able to, with less stress, I'm able to free up my mind in order to get things done in my personal life that I've always wanted to get done. And one thing for me, I don't want to look back on my life and not take a risk and not say, what if I didn't try something different? So within this role, I took a leap and I took a risk and it has paid off. And so I was just really giving myself thanks in the car for that, just the payoff and the doors it's opened for me and the things I've been able to do. The things that I wrote down was like, okay, this is, if I'm going to be in this role, I'm going to have less stress. My mind is going to be in a better spot mentally, but I want to use that time to my advantage. And that was really my mindset of what I wanted to accomplish. And we all have goals and dreams that we want to accomplish. But when you actually accomplish those things, because it's not easy to do, it and you see the payoff of it, it really is just a really beautiful blessing and a true reward to see how far you've come. And so for me, it goes back to the question of what if it all worked out? And for me, I will say it all worked out for me. It worked out in the sense that I have put myself in a better position life wise to do what I want to do in my life. I think it's great to work for a company. It's you learn a lot about yourself and working with other people and all of that, but I think it's also important that we focus on ourselves personally and bettering ourselves personally. And so for me, in that sense, it's all worked out. I have a career. I still do a lot in my job, but I'm also able to now focus on my personal life and the things that really matter to me, like my health and finances and my podcast and doing things that truly bring me joy and a passion in life. And so I'm thankful to have both things. I really share that just for anybody that may be wondering if they want to pivot, is the way I call it. I feel like I'm going to write a book on that one day because I think a pivot and a risk, there can be reward there. Of course, it takes hard work and dedication, but um, that was my miracle. It was me taking a risk and now seeing the rewards from it. I share that story for anybody that may be in a spot where they feel it. Like, you always have this feeling of wanting to move or to pivot in life or to try something different. And some people answer that call within themselves that they feel, and some people don't. And I can't look back on my life and regret not taking the risk. So if that's you that has that, just that feeling of that yearning, that what if I tried something different to see any blessings or miracles or unexpectancies there? What if I did that? Where would I be? They always say with high risk is high reward, but it also takes hard work to get to that high reward. But it's possible. And I think that is one thing that is amazing about our lives, is that we're able to pivot and we're able to really change our lives if it's something that we're not agreeing with or really don't see as the road that we should be taking, you can always pivot. You can always take a different road. And that's okay. You don't have to tell everybody about it. Most people don't know that story about my work and my career, and there's so much to it that I don't think has to be shared, but I share that because I know I'm not the only one in this boat of wanting to pivot and wanting to do something different, or just having that question in the back of my mind of what if? What if I tried something different? Could it work out? And so I'm here to say that it can. It truly can work out for you. So if that's you, know that if you pivot, there could be some unexpected miracles there. There could be things that happen within your life that you never would have thought would have happened if not for that change in your life. So again, I pose the question, what if it all worked out? What if you met that friend or that relationship that you're looking for from your pivot? Where in your story, maybe you have pivoted and maybe you've been in that boat of changing or taking a high risk and seeing a high reward. Where was that reward? And I think that reward can be your miracle. It could be something that happened that you never thought would happen. I think so many times fear and doubt scares us, and it makes us feel like with that we can do nothing, and it halts us in so many ways. And I think it's okay to have some fear and some doubt and some worry about doing something different, because that just shows you care. It's not a bad thing to have those feelings. I have learned to move with those feelings. And I think I learned that lesson through my health and not having a choice to have that worry, doubt, fear within me, but to move with it and have it just come along with me on the ride. That's really kind of the way that I learned to not always let fear halt me. Now, I'm not saying in life it doesn't. There are times where it definitely still does halt me. And there are times where I have to recognize how I'm feeling and recognize those emotions in order to get to a better spot. But I think it's okay to move with the fear, move with the doubt. Like I said, if you want to move to another state and that's something you've been really looking at and you're just fearful because you don't know what's going to happen. We never know. We never know how life is going to turn out. But again, what if it did turn out well? What if you took that jump, that leap, that risk, and with all of that fear and that doubt and maybe some shame and just some embarrassment of it not working out, what if you just moved with that and tried something else? And I can say that no matter your age, no matter where you are in your life, you can always pivot. Life can always be different from what it is today. You don't have to stay where you are. You don't have to stay in the mindset that you're in the situation you're in. You don't have to stay there. So even if you're listening to this and that fear is coming up within you, those worries, I think it's so easy for us to think about it not working out. But what if it did? What if you took a jump or a leap and it all worked out? What if? And if you think it may not work out, I ask you to look back on your life. Look back on the times when it did work out. Look back on the times where you had these blessings or this unexpected change, positive change within your life, and it worked out. We've all had that somewhere within our story. We've all had that. We all look at the low moments in life, and life can get you down, and there are some really hard moments. But in order to keep moving forward, I think it's also healthy to look at the positive moments in your life and the times where it worked out. And if we're going to get spiritual, the times when God came through in the way that you thought he would, then God always comes through for us. But when you see something that you've been praying for and God did what you asked for. We do have those times in our lives. And I think it's beautiful to also reflect on that, because that, I will say, for me, has kept me going, is the times when it's worked out. When I took my career change or my pivot to a different position, something I never thought I'd be doing, but like I said, it's just been such a blessing in disguise. I started getting random phone calls, and people were reaching out about me being able to be a patient advocate for blood disorder patients. And I was getting emails and phone calls, and I was like, where is all this coming from? I had no clue. I just feel like in some way that was such a beautiful miracle for me, because I took a career change and I mentally freed up all this time in order to do things that brought me passion. No matter the amount of money, it brought me passion, and it fueled me, and it made me feel like I had a purpose for living and a purpose to be here on earth. And that kept me going. And I was like, if I can keep doing this, I'll stay in this position, because I am mentally able to focus and do things personally that I want to get done in my life. We work for companies, which is, I think it's great, because you really learn a lot about yourself and you grow within those companies. But you're working for a goal, but you're working for their goal. You're not working for a personal goal for yourself. And I really truly think we all need a healthy balance between the two. And so when I took this role, it gave me that healthy balance that I always wanted and I'd always yearned for, was a healthy balance professionally and personally, and being able to personally do things that bring me joy, that have nothing to do with work at all, but that truly just gives me joy and passion and just a drive for life and to continue life. Even though they may be scary, there are things that I've done. And for me, I think what's important from that story is the mindset shift that I had within my life. I shifted my mindset from being in a role where it was like, okay, if I'm in this role and say that I have this title, I look better than saying I have this title. It was that mindset shift. It's the mindset shift from caring about what other people thought about what I'm doing, the mindset shift of knowing truly why I'm doing it. What is the end goal? Why was I doing this? And for me, it was my health. That mindset goal really truly helped me and has helped me to keep pushing and driving, because if I hadn't taken this change, I always think about that. If I didn't take this career change and I stayed where I was at, I don't know how happy I would still truly be. Um, and I could totally be happy, but I don't know if continuing forward with having this inkling of knowing that there's so much more in life for me personally. I don't know if having that inkling and still going forward with the life that I had done just because it was easier at that point, and continuing life the way it was going to really help me. So the pivot just opened up, just health wise, so many amazing benefits for me, but also mentally opened up so many benefits for me, and really helped open up my passion and bring me back to what personally matters to me. So if this is something, if there's a shift within your life that you're really trying to understand, or a shift that you just don't know where to go from here, I say start with journaling. Start with, first off, journaling the things that have happened, the unexpected miracles that have happened in your life up until now, because you have them. It doesn't matter how many of them, but journal that. Reflect on those times. you will see me with a sticky note probably everywhere in my house. I will always be writing stuff down, things that are in my mind, and I think it's healthy to do that. But if it's something you haven't done up until now, just those thoughts that come to your mind of what if I moved to another city? What would that look like? Write it down. What city would that be? Where would you go? Who possibly could you meet there? What job could you possibly get there? Um, what restaurants would you like to eat at? Like, dream of that life. If that's a what if and you feel that inkling, whatever it may be, write it down. Dream about what that life would look like if you took that pivot and that change to possibly get an unexpected miracle from it. We are all still young and we all still have time to have even more miracles that happen in the future for us. So journal them. Journal what that life would look like that you want. What is that unexpected miracle you're looking for? Or answering the question, what if it did all work out? What if it all worked out? How would your life look moving forward? Journal on that, but also reflect on that and feel all those feelings of what it would feel like to have the things come true. Like winning the lottery. Who doesn't want to do that? If I won the lottery, like how would I feel about that? I mean, I would be jumping for joy. How much money would I want to win? What would I do with that money? Like, really, I say that fun as a funny joke. You never know, it could come true. But take something like that and reflect on it and look at what life would look like if it was that way. What would your life look like if it all worked out for you? And then lastly on that, after journaling and reflecting on it, I say focus on the things that you can control. Like I said, if it's you moving to another state, what you can control is the move. What you can control is getting a new job there if you can't work remote. Focus on the things that you can control and let it all go. Let it all happen. I think within my role and my career change, I focused on what I could control in the moment, and it was the career change. It was the move. It was, okay, I'm in this role that's less stress, writing down the personal goals and dreams that I wanted to accomplish now that I felt like I was mentally in a better place to do so. It just, mentally, I'd freed up all this time in my mind where I wasn't just so focused on work. Okay, what can I now take from this? And how can I take this to better myself? Because that was the ultimate goal of taking this shift, this pivot. So, really focus on what you can control if you took that change. Where would you be in your life? Um, who would you meet? I say write it all out. If you go to church, what church would you go to? Research it. I think it's beautiful to take a different avenue and the unexpected avenue because there are just so many miracles that may be down that road that you don't know about. Taking a risk can be scary, and the fear that comes with that is it's not easy to always deal with, but I think it always works out now that I'm thinking about it. And I say that because you learn so many lessons from the risk that you take. Yeah, you may not ultimately get what you fully wanted when taking the risk. But one thing I do think that you do get, and everybody can and has a chance to get from this, is becoming just mentally tough in that area and being able to mentally know that if this happens again, I can handle it. I can handle what comes with it. I know what it'll feel like. I know it'll be heavy. I know it'll be hard, but I have now become mentally tougher because I've been down that road again. Um, and I think that's very important is learning how to adapt, change, and really have some of that mental toughness because you need that with any risk, but you really do learn about that. So I really just want to highlight that miracles can be small or large. They don't always have to be something big where you're healed from something. Those are amazing miracles that we always hear about, and that's beautiful to hear. But I do think that there are small miracles as well that have happened within your story, my story, everybody's story. And those are things that have worked out for you that you didn't think were going to. Um, and I think it's great to reflect on that and to give yourself praise and just to thank yourself for seeing those miracles and just to be thankful for the miracle of what's happened. So I ask you just to reflect on the things that you may have never thought about within your life, things that you haven't noticed within your life. It could be an amazing opportunity. It could be the growth moment within your story. It could be timing and something happening that you were like, wow, right place, right time. It could be a connection that you truly needed that helped you pivot and change in life. Somebody that you met unexpectedly. It could be you healing. It could be you healing mentally, physically, and emotionally, whatever that may be. Those are small miracles. They sound small, they're really not, but they're smaller miracles than what we hear about mainly in life. So I do think that you should notice, reflect, and remember those small miracles. There is somewhere within your story where it's worked out. If you listen to David DeWitt's episode on my podcast, he battles mental health issues. And within his story, there are some small miracles of things that have worked out for him where he's gotten the help that he needed to get. He's now able to speak on what he's been through and to help other people because he knows what it feels like. There are miracles and just some what if moments within his story that have got him to where he is now, where he's able to speak up about what he's been through. And maybe one of the miracles isn't that everything changed, but that you did, that you changed, that you became a better you. You became mentally stronger. You learned something from that lesson. You grew from that opportunity. Those could be smaller miracles that we push to the side because life is hard sometimes and life be life, and as people say. But I think those are miracles that we should also always reflect on within our story. Maybe you've had a child and that child has changed your life for the better. Maybe that child has shown you love that you never ever had. Maybe the miracle isn't the goal or the dream of everything changing within your life, and maybe it's that you changed within your life. I love ending on that. So I really just encourage you to look back on your life first off, reflect, find those miracles, because I think it's important to know what those are because they help us keep just moving forward in life, even when we're stuck, even when we're in a depressive state, even when it's so hard to keep moving forward. Those times that we reflect on help us to make it to the next day. Help us to know that if it worked out then, and I knew what it felt like, I knew how hard it was then, it can work out. It can still work out today. It can still work out in the future. So I always encourage you to reflect on those good times within your life. Reflect on those times where it did work out. Reflect on the times when you changed, you worked out, you became a better you. And then I think it's healthy to look at the pivots. What if you pivoted and it worked out in your life for the future? What if you change something within your life? It doesn't have to be big as moving to another state. It doesn't have to be big as a career change. It could be something small. It could be letting go of a relationship that you need to let go of, and you know that. What if you made that pivot, that change? What if you did it? Where would you be? So I really want you to reflect on the past first and then start looking at what the future will be and journaling those things and remembering the past, remembering the beautiful moments in the past. because knowing those things help you to keep moving forward. Reflection helps you to keep moving forward in life. And on this podcast, we are all about resilience, hearing strong stories from people that have gone through hard, tough moments in life, but are able to keep moving and pushing forward in their life. I encourage you to go back and look and listen to some episodes of people's stories and to hear the unexpected miracles and the blessings and the things that they saw after going through that hard moment. Drew Long, she has a child that's special needs, and how she has created and birthed this passion for helping other special needs people when they're at Target or at grocery stores, being able to have a cart to push them around. Like, what if it worked out? That was a blessing from her story and a passion that came from her daughter, and Caroline, who has really, in a way, is the backbone of that family from her story. What if it worked out? What if, no matter the hard moments that you've reflected on, something beautiful came from that? So that's why I think it's important to go back, listen to some stories, see those miracles within those stories. So I ask you to reflect back on your own story of resilience, because we've all been resilient. Find those beautiful moments where it worked out, where the blessings came falling down and you saw all of the blessings right in front of you, and to also see where you want to keep going. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. I promise we have some stories coming up. I just am scheduling people. So this is another solo episode. Thank you again, and talk next time. Bye.